So, the Supermarine Swift Mark 1, well F1 actually, but it doesn't really matter. It's the first one, it's 8.3, it's extremely capable, and it's also very literally straightforward. And it entails, go fast, eat ass, that's pretty much all you have to do. Just keep going straight. Trying to reverse the MiG-15 for now, as I say, keep flying straight, so that's a bit contradicting, but that's fine. He over air brakes completely, and we go straight back to the F1 flight style. Running. And you're gonna be hearing me say that a lot. Running, extending, flying away. Oh, and you're gonna be doing that a lot. And for now I am outrunning the MiG-15. It's a BIS and it's an ish. I don't think that the BIS is actually spaded, because I am actually slower than him. But it's not a problem right now, and this is also why I don't really look at top speeds of planes, because a lot of people are trying to grind their planes. And this one, for example, isn't spaded. Or he's on low engine throttle or damaged engine or whatever. He's not catching me. And I'm going 1060, he can go 1085. So I'm not too worried about him. I'm just going to be flying straight for a bit. I need some separation. I want one of them to break off, to get bored of me. Maybe break off for the F9F on the right. And then the F9F, actual godsend of a player, says on me. So what do? I start a very gradual turn towards him. I don't want to turn straight to him, because I will be having two MiG-15s, pretty much 0.6, 0.5 on me. And I don't like that. I want to stay out of their gun range, for obvious reasons. So I want to do a very gradual turn. He's coming to me, and it looks like he's actually doing a lead pursuit, where he aims his plane in front of me to get here quicker. Lowering my throttle, because I am going to overheat my engine like this, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to be flying straight for a little bit. I don't want to go full head-on with the F9F, because that invites the other two MiG-15s to go full commit head-on as well. What I do instead is go up, make them a bit slower, wait for the F9F to be right on their 6, and then start a turn. This way the F9F will be in the most ideal position for him to get a shot. And right now we're going to just play the defensive game. MiG-15s roll very poorly, so I can roll just around his gun. And I do it again right there, very close. I start to notice that I might get a shot here. I push the flaps down just in time and just nick his wing off. That was very close. He was smack talking at the start of the game, back when he was catching me from behind. As you can still see in the left of the chat. So who am I to not return the favor? Now again, we're extending away, grabbing some speed because I'm very slow. And MiG-15s and 17s are of course best when they're slow. Unfortunately, I also struggle at high speed, so I don't really have the advantage at high speed. But I was hoping them to turn fire with the F9F. I would be grabbing some separation, I turn back in and I try to clean them up. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen, as the MiG-15 goes for me instead. The F9F is trying to close the gap between me and the MiG-15. It's not happening. Completely miss, also compress a little bit, but my aim is a bit poor with these guns as well. It's okay, it happens. MiG-15 on me again. I'm not going to pull into that, so I'm going to set up for the turn before that. And because of that, he probably didn't expect that, and he pulls right into my guns. And that's another down, but another one joins the fight, and it's still 3v1 as the F9F just died. I thought I would be getting the head on, then dodge out, but no, sadly, I rolled into his guns and it cost me the game. I was gonna try to get a shot in there, but it doesn't pull nearly well enough to do that without wings. But can you really blame me? 3v1, 8.3, it still held up very well, as you can see. But of course they weren't all focused on me, so I did have some breathing room. Easy head on. IL-28 going full commit. I have 400 rounds, 200 rounds per gun. That is 25% more than the Hunter, which is a pretty substantial margin, because that thing can already shoot forever. And again, we're just extending away. I'm going a bit to the left here, as we're fighting 9.0s. I don't want to go straight into a pack of MiGs. As I'm climbing, I'd rather have them engage my team and that I can come in second. Unfortunately, they actually all climbed towards me, so I did on accident what I didn't want to happen. Luckily, Aiden's are very good guns. I'm not going to pull into that head on, as he will probably get the shot before me and just full commit with me. I will die, I won't get the shot, it's not worth the risk. I'd rather just dodge it, get the hell out of here and extend. extend, extend, extend. That's all you're going to be doing in this thing. Of course, when you run min fuel, you probably can get away with a lot more stuff. But I'm not running min fuel, as 8 minutes in my experience is just a bit too little. It's not a plane that's about maneuvering. If it was a plane like a Venom or a Meteor, I might actually do it. But this is a plane that relies on staying fast, and a plane that relies on keeping your energy. So I don't want to, have 8 minutes of that, because the playstyle that this plane has is a lot slower, and a slower playstyle mostly means you will need more fuel. So 8 minutes for me is just too little. He dodged the head-on. He probably would have gotten grilled by that otherwise, but it's okay. I'm just gonna extend again. Running, running, running. The MiG-17 is trying to turn around. He's not catching me as of yet. I'm going 1000 in a slight climb, so I'm gonna be safe for a little bit. So I'm just gonna fly towards my teammates. And there's a lot of my team in this area, so I should be relatively safe. So I'm just gonna wait for the MiG-17 to get bored of me and break off. And right now I see a MiG-15 that's quite slow. The MiG-17 finally breaks off. He gets missiled. Very nice. Gonna go up, and you can see that for an 8.3, this is some good retention. Sadly missed that by a bit, because the guns are a bit weird. Bottom mounted Aidens, haven't used them in a while. Was a weird shot, and so I missed it, unfortunately. But he goes down just after that, so it's not a problem. MiG-17, he has a lot of people on him, so I'm not too interested in him. Everyone is going for him, so I'd rather go for the 1 or 2 people that are in the middle of the map. You might be able to see them dodged. I'm not sure if you actually can because of the YouTube compression, but I can. And there they are. That's the first one. There's another one behind him, so I don't want to pitch straight up, stall myself out for the second guy. Always engage the one in the back, unless of course it's something like a prop or something that's not very much of a problem. The guy in front of me notices that as well. He luckily for me misses, so I can clean him up. MiG-17 is turning with us as well now. It's 2v2 because the rest of our team is not in the area. 15 trying to pull in. I'm not sure what he's trying to do, but he's very slow. Easy shot. Take him down. Extend for the MiG-17 now. Just switch targets. I just killed the first. I compressed a little bit. Yeah, there's air brake out. I was just too late. Feel a bit sorry for that, because I could have easily saved the Swift. But unfortunately that wasn't the case. Now the game is pretty much over, and I have a little bit of downtime which I will use to talk about the plane itself. I probably should do these things at the start of the match, or the start of the game when everyone's still new and actually waiting for me to talk about the plane. So I'm sorry if you had to wait 8 minutes for that, but I hope you don't mind and I hope you're still here. But it's very straightforward. It's pretty much a mini hunter. The plane in itself, it's fast. It accelerates better on 20 minutes than an F2 Sabre. Well, of course, up until a certain threshold. If you go above 800, above 700, the F2 will of course start pulling away from you. And you want to stay fast in this thing. The problem is when you stay fast, when you stay too fast, what happens is that you compress. And when you start compressing, it's very hard to get your guns on, because this thing can rip at 9 Gs. And the max G is mostly, well, 9. It says overload 9. And when you start pulling too much and you start rolling a little bit, your wingtip just falls off, no warning. But it's stiff, so it's not really like the F2 Sabre with boosters where you will just rip your wing off. It's just, you're trying to move and you compress a bit and you're starting to struggle with the roll, and your wingtip just literally falls off. There's no recoil, no nothing, it just literally falls off your plane. The guns are of course fantastic, 200 rounds a gun of Aiden. The only problem I have with them is that they're both on the bottom of the fuselage. Of course they're still Aidens, but I really dislike bottom mounted guns, so I'm really looking forward to flying the F4 Phantom. And that's pretty much all you need to know. For an 8.3 this might be the best plane in the game. Of course for an 8.3, so I'm not saying that it's the best, but again for 8.3 it's extremely good. It's fast, that's decently good acceleration, but I still have to fight down tiers, and I think that if you get down tiered in this thing, you're gonna have a blast and you're just gonna take a massive dump on everything. The only plane that I can think of that comes close to you are the stuff like C2Bs, but even then you don't really fight those. And C2Bs only have 2.5 minutes of rocket fuel nowadays, which is not a lot. So what you end up doing is just run away for 2 minutes and then they're out of rocket fuel and you take an absolute dunk on them. The Yak 30 is also good, but I feel like it's too slow. But I do think that it's very hard to get your guns on him, as you will see in a second as well. I'm trying to bait him down as he's climbing. I'm gonna go up for a bit, go slow, make myself a juicy target, and I'm gonna dive out. And there's no way he's going to catch me. He will get close, but he only has 23 mils. And they're hard to aim at range. They're also on the bottom of the plane. He doesn't have a lot of ammo, so I'm not too worried. But he gets cut off by a teammate, and I just turn back into him. Not much of a problem here. It's a massive, it's a 3v1. Well, in Swift, the Yak 30 is very maneuverable, so we do have to be careful of that thing. Because if you start a turn fight him, he might actually win a 3v1. Because it's still a Yak 30. That thing is very close to an, what did you call it? The Meteor Mark 8 in a dogfight. Of course, considering he has low fuel, but I don't think he actually does. Because, well, he climbed all the way around the map and he's still at altitude, so I'm gonna guess he's on 20 minutes. So what I'm going to do here is just literally throttle drop on his ass. Because I don't want to go too fast, I don't want to overshoot. And I don't want to compress. Especially compress. And if I just stick on his ass, the other two teammates can easily boom and zoom him. As he has to keep slowing down, trying to get rid of me. And I have no idea how that missed. I was very certain that it was going to hit, but you know, it happens. Maybe desync, maybe flew through the rounds, it's whatever. There I pull out of the shot, because well, I would have rammed him. And go slower, and you can see that the Yak 30 is trying to dodge people that are trying to air brake him. Or throttle drop, because this thing doesn't have an air brake, which is actually pretty annoying. And at this point he's very slow. Starts spraying, because I still have a lot of ammo left. I almost get rammed by the A5. Get a hit. Or spark rather, and then I blast him out of the air. And well, you saw that if this was a 1v1 and I tried to throttle drop him like that, I probably would have died. But you know, it's a 4v1, 5v1 in the end even, so I don't really mind. It's fine. You can get away with it. But don't do that in this plane if there's a 1v1. You don't want to throttle drop unless you really have to reverse, like say an F5, like the new Chinese premium or Korean, whatever you want. You don't want to throttle drop. You want to keep your energy because this retention is very good. And this time it actually happened. I was able to extend away from the battle for a little bit. I took some altitude, I grabbed some speed, and I'm in a very ideal position for this thing to boom and zoom. Everyone's a bit slower than me. He goes full commit. I don't think he actually sees me at this point, but he's way too slow. He gets taken out by Whoopty. So that's unfortunate. And then I extend. MiG-17 or the MiG-15. I couldn't really choose at this point, but the MiG-17 did some weird wacky roll. I didn't get the shot, so I rolled back into the MiG-15 and I took him out. Orgasmic explosion in the background, because these new sounds are absolutely fantastic. The directional sound is sadly as poor as I expected it to be, but it's still a bit better than it was. And just the sounds in general are just great, and I really like them. I'm really glad about that, and other than that, this new patch has been quite underwhelming for me. The flight models are absolute jank. This thing at low speed starts stuttering. MiG-17, the F5, the premium, starts stuttering as well. And just the flight models, the new flight models are absolute jank, and it's very hard to enjoy that at certain times. And it actually got me to turn off the game at times as well, which I don't really do a lot, even though I get quite triggered at this game at times. But I don't rage quit soon. I mostly keep on playing, but this stuff is really annoying. Missed that, piss poor aim, but he turns back into my guns. It's a bit of a weird rudder. That's not a problem, because he's air braking me. He's going so slow that I can easily pull into him, because I was still going slower than him. And when you're slower than someone, it doesn't matter if he turns better than you. Most of the time you can easily just dunk him out of the air. MiG-17, he actually saw me. I was waiting for him to pitch up. He didn't. I don't know what he was doing in the end. Maybe he passed out. So I got an easy shot. Double kill. We go back up, because our team is having the number advantage, like at least in the area right here. So I want to keep on the pressure. I want to bleed their speed as much as I can, and I absolutely despise Yak 23s. I don't care what I'm in, I hate those things. They're way too small, the damage model is way too strong, and they're just a bitch to hit. Sadly, I didn't lead enough, and then I led too much, and I completely missed the Yak-23 altogether. Again, I'm not too used to these guns, and again, getting hit by AA. Can we just do something about AA in this game? Because I'm getting very triggered. As you saw in the first game as well, I had an oil leak, and it's just waiting to die at that point. Because most of the time when you have an oil leak, you're forced to go back to base, and by the time you're back to base, or you're trying to carry, you don't have time to land, and your engine just dies because you got hit by a random AA unit, which is absolutely atrocious in my experience. Thought I was going to get the shot here because the Yak-23 was going to pull in, but he didn't. And I can't get the shot. The Yak-23 is way too maneuverable. So I just extend again. I say extend way too much in this video, but that's fine. Expect the same in the F4 and the F7 videos. When I actually get around to make him. Just pull into him. Blast his wing off. And what I don't want to do is pull right back in. I want to fly a bit on the side of him, because this gunner can't actually hit me here. He's trying to turn away from me, so I'm trying to get a little bit in front of him, or at least a little bit more. I turn in, and he's going to start shooting, and I already killed him. And that's pretty much it. Not the best commentary, but it's hard to talk about planes that fly straight a lot. So I hope you did enjoy it. I do like this plane quite a bit. I recommend this plane as well as the F7. So the F7 will probably be next, or the F5. It depends a bit on my schedule, which I don't have. So look forward to that. Might be tomorrow, might be somewhere in the week, but I'll have to see. Depends on the footage. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in a bit.